Hey, good morning. Happy Monday, Tuesday, I mean. Welcome to another week of Move Sessions, and it is the second week of 2023, so that's kind of fun. The reason I say that's kind of fun is because I think it's the real get back to it kind of week, right? Like the first week of January, especially if you have kids still. And I don't know, those of you who don't have kids at home, do you guys feel this too? Like you're just, January 1st comes and you need like a soft start. Somebody called it yesterday. I saw somebody called it a soft start. I like that. You need to kind of starting and then this is the week that we're like, okay, let's go. We're starting to kind of like really dig into those goals, dig into those resolutions. A lot of people hating on New Year's resolutions, and I'm noticing the ones that hate on New Year's resolutions are the ones that don't keep their resolutions. I'm just saying. I love New Year's resolutions. It's just another way of saying fresh start, but I just love it. Like, I guess it depends how much stock and expectations you put into New Year's resolutions, but honestly, you guys, like, don't be afraid. It's just goals, and maybe those are the same people who don't like to set goals. And I know there's, I drove my son back to school yesterday, and we said, what are your New Year's resolutions or goals? And, I don't really have any yet. And I said, dude, he goes, what do you think? And I said, I think that, here's what I think. Here's what I said to him. This is, for what it's worth. Time, I think, is our most valuable resource. It's irreplaceable. It's the one thing that we cannot get back is time. And without a goal, time just goes by, right? We're not working on anything. We have no direction. We have no purpose. We have no, you don't have that same, I can't think of the right, purpose and motivation, right? Like without a goal, you're just drifting, right? And so in that regard, I think it's really important to have some kind of something that you're working on. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be like, oh, hey, I'm going to go out and change the world this year, or I'm going to completely transform my body, or I'm going to, quantum leap and level up my life, or I'm going to pay off all of my debts. I mean, that's, I guess, where we go wrong with resolutions is we put too much into it, right? Too much expectations. It's kind of like your 30s. No, your 20s. Your 20s. When you turn 30, I remember turning 30 and thinking, I haven't accomplished anywhere near what I thought I would have accomplished by 30. And as I realized what I was expecting to have done, it's like impossible. Nobody can do all that. So because in your 20s, you're either focused on career, or you're focused on family, or you're focused on school. Like you can't do all three and then land at 30 with your dream home, your dream family, your dream job, and all of your financials in like it's just not even possible. So that's why like 30 to me was a really hard year, because I thought I have a fraction of what I wanted in life. Well, because my 20s were spent focused on, well, they weren't very focused in the first place, but so I could have definitely done better in my 20s. But in all fairness, while all my friends had finished school, graduated, started these exciting careers, okay, I'm gonna step up a little bit here, add a little hop. And remember, I didn't give you my spiel this morning to go at your own pace. And if you want to keep it at low impact for the workout because you're just starting, then go ahead. And if you want to add the hop, you can. There's no judgment. There's no right or wrong. Do what's right for you. Take the baby steps. Slow down to speed up. Don't try to like go from zero to kind of what I was just talking about. Don't try to accomplish all your resolutions in the first week of January, right? And then quit because you didn't. Lost my train. So my friends had all, started, they finished school, which I hadn't. They started into their careers. And some of them had maybe gotten married or bought a house. I had gotten married, I had bought a house, and I'd started a family. And that was kind of, of course, my life took in my 20s, and so at 30, I had no career. I had no direction in that aspect of my life. But I guess I would have had, I don't even know at that point, how old was I when I had Dixon? Okay, well, I turned 47 a couple days ago. So I had 2 kids, 2 really awesome kids, I might add, and most of my friends hadn't started. So, anyways, that's what I feel like we do with resolutions, is we set huge goals. You know me, I say the bigger the better. Go big, go big. But then when you set these huge, massive, life-changing goals, you're not supposed to achieve them in a week, right? You're not supposed to achieve them in a month, and you might not even achieve them in 2023, but you can make headway towards them. So you should set your goals big. And like I say to you guys, set your goals big, but set your action plan small. Because I just posted a quote for this morning from Jim Rohn that said, you know, the things, I'm going to mess it up. Something about it's easy. The things that are easy to do are also easy not to do, and that's what separates success and failure. It's those little things that we do day in and day out. We think it's I gotta go to the gym. I gotta eat all the good things. Well, there's so many, like if you're starting a new diet plan, you guys know that I started a new plan called Best Me. It's not a diet, well it is a diet, but not we equate diet with weight loss, don't we? It's an eating, way of eating. It's essentially learning to eat the right portions and amounts of the right foods. Go figure. I mean, that's all that really healthy eating needs to be. Eat the right portions of the right foods. Boom. You're a rock star. That's what we don't do. It's easier said than done. But anyway, trying some new things, experimenting with some new ways of fueling my body, and totally lost track. Oh, so maybe you're doing something. I know some people are doing, I don't know, maybe some people are clean eating. Whatever you're doing, there's a tendency to want to do it all as soon as you start, right? And I started by changing up my breakfast. I was thinking today, start by winning the morning. Win the morning every day, right? Get up, decide on a time you want to get up, and commit to it and do it, okay? That might be hard enough to do, and that might take you, because winning the morning, okay, so starting by getting up at the time you want to get up, not hitting snooze a million times, right? Maybe, I would recommend not saying, okay, I'm going to get up an hour earlier every day. I would say nudge it back 15 minutes, right? So let's say over the break, you've been sleeping till, let's say you have to get up at 7 for work. Maybe you set your clock for 6:45. No snoozing. No snoozing. You set your clock for 6:45, and that is what you're working on. And that might take you all of January. And so be it. That doesn't make you, if you can nail that, it won't take you all of January. It might take 2 to 3 weeks. I think new habits take about 2 to 3 weeks to start to stick and feel like a new normal. The 2 weeks is hard. Somewhere between 2 and 3, it starts to feel like your routine, right? So it takes you 2-3 weeks to nail down, because let's be honest, it's not the getting up, it's then also getting to bed at night. But the cool thing is, by implementing that new habit of getting up 15 minutes earlier, you're now going to maybe go to bed at the same time, right? That's actually another habit, potentially. One of the things that affects me getting to bed and getting to sleep is eating in the evening. So all of a sudden you're piggybacking all these other habits on in order to nail that one habit. Powerful, right? When all you think you're doing is changing that one thing, and yet you've changed a whole bunch of things in the month. So then you go, okay, now I'm getting up every morning. I have 15 minutes. What am I going to do with that 15 minutes? So maybe you're gonna do yoga every morning. I try to do yoga 10 minutes a day, 10 to 12 minutes I set my timer thing for on the app. And, or maybe you're gonna read. Maybe you're gonna read 10 pages of a self-development book, right? Or maybe you're gonna go for a 10-minute walk, right? So you're taking that 15 minutes extra and now you're doubling down with doing something useful with it. Okay, we're using our step today, of course we are. Guys, get used to the step because we're gonna be doing a lot. We're not even gonna talk about my second race that I have signed up for this year. We're just gonna focus on the first one. 33,000 feet of climbing. Now, if any of you are super astute and, sorry, I'm hot. I knew I should put a t-shirt on. If any of you actually kind of listen to my yammering on and on, you may remember that Bigfoot was 45 plus thousand feet of climbing. That was over 200 miles. So last week I didn't use a weight on the step, and my legs were sore till Saturday. So I'm gonna do another week without a weight on the step. These guys. All right, ready? Doing probably similar same workout as last week. All right, let's go. I lied because we're probably gonna add. So I started with my left foot. I don't know why I did that. I think because I usually start with my right foot. What was I babbling about? So, do you hear what I'm saying? Work on one piece. Like, so you have a big, what's that saying? How do you eat an elephant? I don't know why I'm eating an elephant, though. Like, that is the statement, I think, right? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time? I'm just not really sure why we're eating an elephant, but anyways, I guess you could apply it to how do you eat a whole pizza? Yeah, I don't know why I need to eat a whole pizza. One bite at a time. How do you achieve a big goal? One step at a time, right? The feather analogy continues to be an awesome sort of mental picture. One feather at a time. Somebody said to me the other day, they're actually preparing for the retreat that I'm hosting in, Okay, so we're gonna go to suitcase squats next, that I'm hosting in May. And she said, no, we're not. We're doing, yes we are. Indecisive this morning. And she said, it just seems like I have so much work to do. It's so, like I'm starting from scratch and I have so much work to do. And how can that make you feel? I mean, I know. It can make you feel hopeless and defeated and like futile, right? Like, why bother? It's so much when you set big goals, which is, I guess, why we're gonna do back lunges today, because I suck at them. And here's the thing, you have an option, do back or front lunges. Supposedly, back lunges use more of the back of the leg. I mean, physiologically, that's the case. For whatever reason, I feel them more in my quads, front of my legs. Jeez, I'm almost like I gotta open the garage door and get some air in here. I'm so warm. So that's why people say set small achievable goals, right? I'm not into small achievable goals. Okay, we're doing lateral lunges because there's no inspiration in them. So again, you're stuck in that place where it's like, well, it's easy to do, easy not to do, and typically we just don't do them. I think you need to chase a goal that's big, that you really want, and then you set your plan to focus on doing little goals. That's my jam. And what am I forgetting? I know we gotta do deadlifts. So do the 2 steps, do squats and lunges. Yeah, so same thing as last week, you guys. And hopefully I'm not sore for an entire week this time. Anyway, so how is everyone doing? I did a live yesterday and I asked people, okay, where are you at? 1, 2, or 3? Are you 1? Okay, now we're doing our blasted 747s. 1, did you start on the first and you're crushing your goals? Not your goals, because you shouldn't be crushing your goals yet. If you're crushing your goals already and it's only been a week, your goals aren't big enough, right? You're crushing your action plan. You're dialed. You're like all in. I'm gonna brag for a second. If I was in a class, I would be the star student. I'm doing good. Now, I did cheat on my birthday, which was Sunday, but I had the plan. I had already planned. It wasn't like an impulse indulgence. It was like, here's my plan, but on my birthday, I'm allowed to do whatever I want, which I would say I applied the 90-10 rule. I did good, you guys. I was almost stuck to my entire plan. The only thing I did do is I did have some wine at dinner, and I did have half a piece of cheesecake. My dinner, we went to the Keg. I stuck to my plan. I had 4 ounces of steak. Can you imagine? I ordered an 8-ounce steak, cut it in half, had veggies. That was my dinner. I had shrimp cocktail. Nothing wrong with shrimp cocktail. The one thing I did have was I had two 3 pepper wings and a couple pieces of cauliflower. What's it called? You know, from the Keg. We were at the Keg. So 1 is I started, I'm dialed, I'm in it, I'm crushing it, I'm feeling good. 2 is I soft started, I have a plan, I'm kind of like 50-50, but I'm ready to start. And then 3 is, yeah, I haven't even thought about it, or I'm going to add a 4th. I haven't even thought about it, but I'm ready to kind of figure it out and dive in. And then 4 is, yeah, I started and I already quit. No judging, no judging. Don't be ashamed. I think that would probably be a lot of people right now. Okay, so that was round 1, so we're going to do that 4 times. How's everybody feeling? I don't know if anybody else's legs were shredded like mine. It didn't sound like it. Hey, ladies. But mine were shredded. And maybe it was because of some other stuff I did. Maybe it's the weights I'm using in here. I don't know. I thought I went moderate. So we drove down to Lake Placid on Friday. We left at 3 a.m. I got picked up, lucky me, and a 6-hour drive. We started just after 9, finished 7.5 hours later. Just before it was about to get dark, we finished, and drove 6 hours home. So it was a long day, and I went into that with like still hobbling around because my butt and hamstrings were so sore. So it was funny because the climb, and Jen is coming on my retreat. Jen Sharp is coming on my retreat. Anybody that's coming on my retreat that happens to be doing this video, and I remember this from last May when I was there, you start climbing right away, and you do a lot of climbing, like steep, hard, arduous climbing, and you're like, I'm gonna die, I can't do this. But then it's not so bad. But and then add on top of that, winter conditions. Now the conditions were pretty good, so I can't even really say that it was necessarily harder. It's just different. And we could encounter snow there in May. Like when I went last May, at the higher peaks, and I went about 2 weeks later than we're going this year. Make sure your chest is out, you guys, remember? And we had snow. And we could have snow. So the descent was, you're definitely gonna need crampons. Anyway, it was 7.5 hours of hard work. Let's put it that way. It was a good one. And I did, when I have those things, I kind of have to throw the diet or the rules out the window. Now, I actually didn't want to. If you guys ever kind of get, like you're all in on something, and you're like, I want to keep going. Like, I'm so into this right now. I just want to keep doing this. And the only thing open to eat was McDonald's. So I had McDonald's. And the funny thing is, the worst thing about fast food, this is what killed my legs right here. I can feel it already. The worst thing about fast food is it's so hugely laden with calories. One more. And yet you eat it and you're hungry like half an hour later. So I got a crispy chicken deluxe even, with fries, and literally was hungry, like starving like an hour later. Meanwhile, it was like, I don't know, 1,000 calories. Now, I guess we burned a lot of calories that day, but other than that, I've been good. I've been learning some things about my body and how it's responding. One thing I love about Best Me is if you kind of, well, a couple things. If you do it properly, you need a lot of veggies because veggies are free. So if you're like me and you don't really love tracking things, right? It's something new for me. I've always been very resistant. Mostly you guys because I'm lazy and I'm not a details person. So to track something is like admin work. I don't like admin work. And then on top of that, I gotta weigh it. And track it. So I'm finding if I'm gonna I'm eating a ton of veggies because I can have all that extra food and not have to count it, track it, or do anything. So I'm going to town on veggies, which you guys who follow me know I teach. 50% of your what you're eating should be veggies. So I love that about the program because if you want to eat more, you can eat as much as you want if you eat veggies. Because veggies are free. You can eat so many veggies. So then you're getting the fiber and you're getting the micronutrients. And I love the fiber for 2 reasons. Fiber satiates and fills you, first of all. But fiber also is like, it's roughage, right? So it pulls like toxic stuff that's in your intestines, in your insides, and it pulls it through. So it's acts like a cleanse, as you know, because when you eat fiber, it can make you go poo, right? So I'm loving that. One of the things that I noticed was I've skipped ahead because I'm a keener and figured out the point system. So I'm sticking to my amount of food per day. That's week 4. So Betty, I know you're just starting, like, don't be overwhelmed, you guys. And if those of you doing Best Me, don't jump ahead if it overwhelms you. Just stick with 1 step at a time, because again, like, trying to do too much and overwhelm will usually cause you to just do nothing, right? And I felt that in the first week of January because I had all these things that I was trying to do. And here's what happens is at the end of the day, you're like, I do this mental checklist of did I do all the things, right? Did I do my Wordle? Did I do my 1 mile run? Did I do my 100 core? Did I do my yoga? And that list was getting so long, I was getting really confused. Yeah, I know, write it down, right? Like, that would be smart, but unless you're a writer downer, like, when your inclination is not towards admin type stuff, which mine is not. All right, back to step ups. anyways, so yes, the solution would be to write all your things down. But again, what you want is something so easy that you're like, did I do my 100 core today? Yep. Nope. Okay, drop down to the floor, do it. 2 minutes later, you're done. Like, you want something that kind of fluid that you can just be like, yep, did it. After a couple weeks, you almost don't have to have that mental check anymore. Like, you don't say, hey, did I brush my teeth this morning, or did I brush my teeth? Like, you just do it, right? Like, you want habits to become that ingrained in you that you don't have to think, then you can move on to the next one, right? So I was finding I was trying to do too much, and I had to scale it back and go, no, focus on, you know, my big focus right now is the food, right? And the other thing I learned is, this is just kind of a side note for those of you doing the 100 core or doing something like a habit challenge every day. I've taught this before, stack it on something you already do. So most days I run, every morning I run. So when I come back from my run, I do my yoga, I do my core. That's done for the day now. Now I'm not like gonna forget it, right? If you're trying to do a glass of water every morning, like what do you do most of us are pretty habitual in the morning. So if you drink coffee, like I love my first cup of coffee. Well, first, I only have one. I only have 1 cup of coffee a day. And it's my favorite. I am not allowed to have it till I have my water, right? So I have this rule. Or inevitably you're gonna be making your coffee. So what can you be doing while your coffee's brewing, right? So I figured out how to incorporate the new habits into my current routine. And mornings, are you guys the same, or is that just me? Like, are you most regimented in the morning? Or I don't know, maybe if you have a really consistent evening routine. My evenings are wacko, like absolutely wacko, and more wacko than ever right now, because we have baseball like every freaking night of the week, lordy. So again, I'm trying to incorporate walking and training into time that I'm already spending, you know, taking the kids to baseball. Can I run while they're at baseball, right? So trying to kind of stack together habits so that then you're not trying to mentally remember them, and they stick really quick. Like the yoga and the core, I have a new little routine now with my running. I run, I come home, I make my egg whites, eat them, do yoga, do core, work out with you guys. So make sure that chest, you're keeping that chest out. That way your shoulder blades are gonna retract. You can't really stick your chest out and curve your back at the same time. You want your gaze slightly ahead of you because you want a neutral spine and neck. So you don't want your head down and you don't want your head cocked up either. Whew, this is round 3. Crushing it today. Oh, so I was going to share with you the other. Ooh. So here's my kind of aha of last week is, okay, so with this program, and you guys can tell how much trust I have in the people that wrote this program, that they know what they're doing and that they know what's best from a scientific, physiological perspective, not an emotional, nuancy type of perspective. So they're telling me that I should eat this amount of food every day, even though I work like that takes into account my workouts, takes into account my age, takes into account my goals. I'm finding it to be drastically less food than what I'm used to eating. So the first thing the mind does is say, nope, this is all wrong. This is all wrong. They don't know what's best for me. They don't know. And then the mind searches for ways to validate that, right? To validate that they're wrong and I'm right. I run this much. My metabolite, blah, 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 blah. I have all these stories behind why I need to start adapting the program again, right? I told you guys initially I started adapting the program based on the foods. Now it's like, okay, and I have to think that if my mind does this, most of our minds do this, right? We look at something that we're trying to change and we look to how we can make it as close to what we currently do as possible, and don't really recognize that we're doing that. In our minds, we're totally changing because we're doing this new thing and we're following this new program. You know, like, it's interesting because to follow a program gives us rules to follow. And then what we tell ourselves is as long as we're following those rules, then we're going to get the outcome that that program promises us, right? But we're really good at finding ways to bend or break or change the rules to accommodate us and still think that we're following that program. And then we wonder why we don't get the results, right? Because we're not really doing, and it's hard to do that because if you're doing Best Me properly, then you're plugging into the coaching calls, which they have 4. So yesterday was number 2, and I had to miss it last night because it was chaos around here. And so I'm watching it this morning, and they explain why they do everything. So now all of a sudden, when I understand why they're doing things, my reasons are like, nope, I'm wrong. And so anyway, so it's just interesting because I was thinking, no, I'm really instinctively wanting to eat more food, and I realized as a society, we eat a lot. Like you guys, and I'm not saying you specifically do, maybe you don't, because I do actually know people that eat like birds that are also overweight, but we have a really warped understanding of portions and amount of foods that our body actually physically needs. Like if you look at the way people lived 20, 30, 40 years ago, right? The way our parents or our grandparents grew up, their lives were physically a lot more demanding. And I can almost, I can't prove this, but I'm pretty sure they eat a fraction. Like my dad and I had a big talk the other day, and he said, we didn't overeat because we didn't have the food in the house. Like, we didn't have, you couldn't have extra servings. There was enough to eat for dinner, and that was it. Because they didn't grow up well off. You know, he grew up in England the first few years of his life, and he said, you know, we didn't have fruit. Like, we had fruit once in a blue moon. They did a lot of things with flour and starchy vegetables that were cheaper, right? And he said, but they weren't overweight. So, I'm like, what did I miss? No, I'm just having a moment. We have the least, probably, I would say the least active life we've had ever, and we eat the most amount of food. So, when I'm changing my portions and changing the amount of food I eat, it's almost like you have to really rewire the hard wiring of your brain to say, yeah, because you overeat, you don't need to eat that much. You're just eating. How often are we eating for fuel versus eating for a million other reasons? And our lives, it got me thinking how focused our lives are on food. Like we celebrate with food, we mourn with food, right? Like when we're stressed, we eat. When we're bored, we eat. When we want something exciting to do, we eat. When we socialize, we eat. Like, eating is the center of our, like, because I thought to myself, if somebody was watching how I was eating right now, they would say, oh my God, this is what I would have said a couple months ago. Oh my God, that's so boring. Oh my God, I couldn't do that. It's so boring. It's so disciplined. It's so strict. Like, I love to eat. I love food. This is all still true. Did not all of a sudden. But that is something that could maybe be worked on and changed, that we could find enjoyment in life in other areas other than shoving food down our trap. At the very least, increase the activity level, right? To at least, I guess, warrant it to some degree. I don't know. Anyways, food is not supposed to be entertainment. Food is supposed to be fuel. I was trying to remember, do you guys remember, I had that challenge one month, I cannot find it for the life of me, and it was around labeling your food, and I can't remember the categories. All I can remember is entertainment. Nutrition, entertainment, and then I can't remember what the third category was. If anybody happens to remember that, let me know in the comments, because I want to kind of bring that to the surface again. Because that's the thing, we have, like, food is not a source of entertainment. Food is fuel. And and that's not to say, like, don't get me wrong, like, food is meant to be enjoyed too, and you absolutely can enjoy food sometimes, like, not, but that shouldn't be the sole purpose for food, right? Like, we're kind of abusing something. It's like if we took alcohol and decided that was going to be our new way to hydrate. Like, it's fine to have alcohol, but that's not the purpose it serves. It doesn't hydrate you, right? Like, it is a treat. Anyways, you guys get my, there's balance and moderation. I happen to have some pretty aggressive goals this year, and so aggressive like tactics towards my eating is what I want to do. Am I gonna live like this forever? No, I'll probably get a little bit pudgy next fall after I do my 2 events. But anyway, I don't know if I'm making any sense. Just giving just food for thought, no pun intended. All right, we're gonna finish with our 100 core, because having said that, I didn't do my 100 core this morning because I was watching the video. So let's start with 10 push-ups. You can do your push-ups from your knees or from your or full-on ones. Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to do 10 sit-ups. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to do 10 flutter kicks next. We're going to do them Goggins style, so we count to 3 each time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 8, 2, 3, 9, 2, 3, 10, 2, 3. Hug it up. I don't think there's a single day I've done where I haven't done Russian twists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I double downed on those. I usually only count both sides. We're stepping it up in here. We're gonna do the same thing with bicycles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whew. All right, now we're going to repeat that. So go back to push-ups. We'll do 10. We'll have a little more than 100 core. And remember, you guys, you can do more. You can always do more of the minimums. Those are just your minimums. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. On to sit-ups. 10. So I want to say 9, I can't count in. But while I was trying to decide, am I eating not enough food or am I eating enough? I decided, well, I was gonna give it a chance. So I was gonna see how I felt. I should be able to tell in my runs if I'm eating enough. And so far, I feel good. Like, I feel fine. I think I totally am eating enough. It's just my mind is so used to eating more. I have the occasional hunger, which is fine. And what I'm trying to do is drink water to see, like, is it hunger? My body could definitely be getting used to less food getting dumped into it all the time. But I'm finding my energy is really sustained, which is interesting. The reason I noticed that is because usually I will have a 10 or 15 minute nap every afternoon. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 8, 2, 3, 9, 2, 3, 10, 2, 3. I am not finding I need that nap. So that's huge. That's huge for me. Now I'm going to bed at like 9:30 or 10 every night. I'm getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night. My energy seems to be sustained. The hunger is very mild and usually can be nipped pretty quickly by either grabbing a few veggies or having my fiber drink. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now what I would say is, for those of you, like, I was thinking about other people who might find that to be the case, that they're not eating enough food. They feel like they're not even eating enough food. Maybe you work your way down. Maybe you don't cut, like maybe you start out by eating the right foods and then the right portions, and then you worry about the overall amount. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Remembering that you're not needing to accomplish your 2023 resolutions by the end of January, right? Slow down to speed up, one step at a time. Nail one thing, onto the next. Nail one thing, onto the next. Don't be in a rush, that's how you fail. By doing one thing at a time, you're gonna make it to the finish line and actually achieve those goals. So thanks for joining me today. Have an awesome afternoon and we'll see you tomorrow.